You'd almost have to live under a rock to not know that we're going through college basketball championship games. It starts with March Madness. Then it goes to the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, the Final Four. I guess it's probably the Terrific Two. And finally the nation's number one. It's interesting, isn't it, to watch all of the people that display their colors by buying T-shirts, hats, coats, patches, even socks to show their team favorites. As a matter of fact, I'm always amused during football season when they pan the crowd and there's somebody with no shirt on and their team colors painted all over their chest and the temperature is 0 or below. Well, I took a lot of ridicule when I was a pastor in Florida because I wore my team colors. I wore the ties that were something that would call people's attention to my team. And that's why I brought a few in here to show you today. This is my hellfire and brimstone tie. That's Moses casting down the tablets. This is my witnessing tie, which has, whoever believes in him should not perish. He gave his only son. This one tells clearly who my team is. This is my Jesus tie. This tie is particularly appropriate for reading his word and the communion service of the Lord's Supper and prayer. This tie is, of course, to express my gratitude for his death on the cross. This is the Easter crucifixion tie or Good Friday tie. This tie is a witnessing tie that is more modernistic. It has a crown of thorns and a cross, but some incredibly interesting designs and colors in it that will catch people's attention. This tie has a cross on it and the shield of faith, and has the belt of truth and all of the armor of God that we need to put on. I certainly should wear that whenever I preach on spiritual warfare. This one is a tie with a cross on it. As a matter of fact, when I began to wear this at Temple Baptist Church, one of the young men there said, "Boy, I just love your tie. I'm going to steal it sometime." Well, I didn't want him to be tempted to steal it, so I went out and found another one like it and bought it and gave it to him, and he tells me he wears it regularly. This too is a tie with crosses on it and matches some of my other suits and other shirts that I wear, again to call out my team, Jesus who died on the cross. This tie shows Jesus' love. It's a believer being received into heaven by Jesus. I love the look, if you can see it, of Jesus' face on this tie and in the picture that it comes from, because I believe that's the way he greets all of us as we enter heaven. And then this one that I started with years and years ago, it's modernistic crosses, but down at the bottom it says, "It is finished." And that's the license plate that I have on the front of my car. Everything that could be done for us was done for us on the cross of Calvary. It is finished. You say, "Pastor, that's a lot of spiritual ties." That's a lot of ties. Yeah. When I left the pulpit in Florida 3 years ago, one of my members said, "I'm going to miss your hokey ties." And that, in all of this emphasis on basketball and school colors and so on, brought me to today's devotion. Colossians 1:15 through 18. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. For by him all things were created, both in the heavens and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. All things have been created through him and for him. And he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. He is before all things. I heard a story about a young man who was going to wear his school colors, and he put on a coat over the top of his school colors, and then he thought for a minute and went and got his cross and put it around his neck, because he believed that Jesus was before all things, before school colors, before coat for warmth. Jesus was before all things. So I finally came to the conclusion that some of you are going to laugh about those ties and say they are hokey. I don't know that I'd be proud of my pastor wearing hokey ties. Well, okay, that's up to you. But you know what? I couldn't help but to think about 1 Corinthians 4:10. We are fools for Christ's sake. See, if somebody's going to laugh at my colors or my allegiance to my team, I'd rather they laugh about me because of Christ than they would about some basketball, football, soccer, whatever it happens to be, team. I'd rather be a fool for Christ than a fool for something else. And so we need to remember, somebody may call you a fool, but I'm a fool for Christ. Whose fool are you? That's your thought for the day.